this session, you will need a SEJARAH textbook or reference book of your preference, some flashcards, some pens, and some highlighters. This is an overview of what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be making flashcards on Chapter 9, Perkembangan di Eropa, and we're going to be doing Zaman Gelap, Zaman Renaissance, Faktor and Kesan, and Zaman Reformation, Faktor and Kesan as well. So we are going to start this off with ciri-ciri Zaman Gelap. So you're going to open your flashcard and write down ciri-ciri Zaman Gelap on one side and the answers on the other side. So the title of the essay will be on one side of the flashcard, and on the other side you will have the answers. So I'm just writing down the ciri-ciri Zaman Gelap, and the first one is kemerosotan from 3 aspects. So we have ilmu, perdagangan, and hidup perbandaran, and this is supposed to get you around 3 marks. And then the second point is tiada pentadbiran pusat. The third point, there's golongan beren, which is tuan tanah. And fourth point, petani minta perlindungan tuan tanah, and in return they have to bayar cukai and serah tanah. So the third and fourth point are actually interconnected. So if you remember the third one, you will remember the fourth one as well. And then number 5, kegiatan perdagangan tidak meluas. And number 6, penguasaan institusi gereja luas. My first tip when it comes to making flashcards is to condense down your points into short forms, because there is no point copying down everything exactly. If you copy word by word from the textbook, then you might as well just read the textbook. So the whole point of flashcards is to condense down the information. Now we'll move on to Faktor Renaissance d'Italy. So you're going to write that down on one side of the flashcard, and then on the other side of the flashcards, you're going to be writing down the answers. So the first point is semangat inquiry, and in brackets the huraian is meneroka bidang dan kawasan baharu. The second point is Bandar Baharu. So you're going to list down 3 examples of Bandar Baharu, which are Venice, Milan, and Rome. Number 3, kedudukan yang strategic, because dikelilingi Laut Mediterranean. And then the last point is pedagang kaya menjadi patron. So they become patron to seniman. My second tip is to use your logic. So you're going to memorize the main points, and for the ones in the brackets, you're going to use your logic to recall by relating it to the main points. So for example, for the second point, we have Bandar Baharu, and you're going to memorize that point, but for the examples Venice, Milan, and Rome, you're going to use your logic to generate it. By doing this, you can actually narrow down the amount of things which you need to memorize. So the third one is Kesan Renaissance, and you're going to write that on one side of the flashcard. On the other side, you're going to write down the actual main points. So the first main point is Monarki Baharu, and under Monarki Baharu, we have Kerajaan Pusat and Kesatuan Kebangsaan. And this is actually a rather popular question for objective. You're going to choose, like, they will give you 4, and you're going to choose Kerajaan Pusat and Kesatuan Kebangsaan as your answer. And then number 2, you have to membayar cukai kepada Kerajaan Pusat. Number 3, perkembangan ilmu sains. And it's easy to remember the examples because we have bio, physics, and kimia. And then for number 4, kesediaan menzahirkan emosi, and this is through music, lukisan, and ukiran. My third tip when it comes to making flashcards is to make good use of the tiny branches. So instead of writing it all down in one sentence, you can try breaking down the information by using tiny branches so that the information is less overwhelming and intimidating to you. The next thing that we're going to cover is faktor-faktor reformation. And you're going to flip over to the next page and write down the points. So the first point is kepincangan, rasuah, and penyelewengan. And in brackets, gereja meningkatkan usaha pembangunan. And then there's second point, mesin cetak, which is for Bible. And so Bible dicetak dalam masa yang singkat and dapat dijual dengan harga yang murah. Number 3, we have Protestant, and Martin Luther is the lead of the Protestant. Number 4, Counter-Reformation, which basically means menentang sesuatu yang baharu. And then finally, penjualan sijil indulgences. The final thing that we're covering today is kesan-kesan reformation, and this one is actually quite like a story. So as a result of reformation, the Christian is divided into two, so we have Mazhab Catholic and also Mazhab Protestant. And since it is divided into two, negara Eropah pecah and then they fight according to their mazhab. So when they fight, it's called perang keagamaan, since it's between religions. And then this leads to kemusnahan. And finally, after fighting, they decided to tolerate each other. So that is why they have sikap toleransi antara pengikut mazhab. And then the fifth thing is kuasa gereja dicabar secara terbuka. Naturally, when they fight, they're going to challenge each other. So that leads to the fifth point. It is essentially like a story. My last tip is applicable to the kesan-kesan reformation, and it is to make what you can into stories. So sejarah is actually like stories, and so you can try making what you can into stories, and it will make remembering facts so much easier, because remembering stories are so much easier than remembering facts. My final tip is that you can go through your flashcards and use your highlighter to highlight some of the stuff that you want to remember or you find easier to remember. Try to detect the facts that you find will be easier to remember. For example, Bandar Baru, and then you have 3 examples, and this is for structured questions. Because for structured questions, they will ask for 2 or 3 points only. So you can try identifying the stuff that you can remember easily and highlight them for the purpose of answering structured questions. So that's the end of our little flashcard making session, and I chose chapter 9 Perkembangan di Eropah simply because I think that it is easier to tackle essay questions from this chapter, and the essay questions from this chapter are commonly asked as well, especially like ciri-ciri zaman gelap. I've literally come across these questions so many times when I was in Form 4 and Form 5. So anyways, I hope that the tips that I gave you were useful. And that's all for today's video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.